for people who are not on our team who's joining us. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Jenna. I'm the founder and CEO of Million Marker, and we're really excited here today to have Dr. Amy Beckley to join us for this live session. I actually met Dr. Amy Beckley through Dr. Amy, the egg whisperer, our medical advisor. So when Dr. Amy told me about Proov test, I was super excited because our mission completely aligns with Proov, that we really want to help people and increase their chances of conception and have a healthier pregnancy. So we're super excited. Hi, Amy. Thank you so much for joining us. We did a little bit introduction already while we're trying to figure out all the technical difficulty. So Amy, you want to start and then maybe introduce yourself to everyone, and then what's your background, all the good stuff.
Yeah. So cut out a little bit, but Amy Beckley, founder of Proov. Proov measures progesterone metabolites in urine to understand how well a woman's ovulating. We invented this technology about 4 years ago after my own personal battle with infertility. I would get pregnant for about, I don't know, a week, and then I would lose it. And I'm a PhD in pharmacology, and I just had this feeling that something wasn't right. And since progesterone is the hormone that is needed to support implantation and a healthy pregnancy, my theory was I just wasn't making enough of this critical hormone, and it wasn't a good environment for that pregnancy to thrive. And that's why I was losing those pregnancies. So we developed a technology that allows women to measure progesterone metabolites in urine. Through that implantation window, hormone level high or good implantation events. And so if it's not, we call it what's called a weak ovulation, meaning it's just not a really good environment. And a lot of other people call it estrogen dominance. So a lot of hormone disrupting chemicals. Basically what they do is they either make more estrogen, and so your body doesn't have enough progesterone to counteract it. And that's why you don't have that good uterine environment. Or they prevent your body from making progesterone, and so you have low progesterone. There's really like a hormone balance test. Just make sure everything's where it needs to be. Studies show that when PEG levels are low, your chance of successful pregnancy is like 18%, but it jumps to 92% when your PEG levels are high and remain high. So just trying to educate women that just because you're having intercourse in your fertile window, that's half the battle. The other half of the battle is making sure your body is set up to succeed. And so I really like you guys in your testing because there's a lot of environmental factors that lead to hormones that can identify what's going wrong. We fix it, have better chances at get conception and just healthy life. I'm 41 now, not TTC, but I still do things to promote healthy hormones and healthy balance because it helps reduce PMS. It helps cyclic headaches that I have. I don't have much anxiety and stress, and overall, you're in a better mood when you have a happy cycle. So
that's for sure. Hormone, just like this, it's almost like a symphony in your body. It all just have to work really well. And then here, I want to give another plug in because I know Proov is being really generous and giving our audience saving $5 for offering this super hormone or offering the test for Proov. And then people can check out in the LinkedIn bio to purchase. You just talked so much about science, and then there's a lot to unpack. So we're gonna maybe try to unpack a little bit. But first of all, let's talk about what's Proov's product offering.
Yeah, so we empower women to understand their hormones. And so there's four critical hormones in the cycle. FSH is the one that's beginning. It tells you kind of, your ovarian reserve, how many, eggs do you have left. It's typically low in the beginning of the cycle, and it stimulates the follicle to release an egg or to start the maturation of an egg. If it is too high, that means you might not have very many eggs left. And so we can help women understand their ovarian reserve, their ovarian status, how close they are to menopause, how many eggs they have left. And that's really important for if they're thinking about IVF. If you have too high of FSH levels and you start IVF, you're going to have a poor success rate because you won't have enough eggs retrieved. If you're thinking about maybe postponing your family, and you're worried about, do I have time for that? If you have a higher FSH level, that might prompt you to maybe reconsider that decision and start a little bit sooner. So we've just launched that test. All of our tests are paired with a free companion app that produces quantitative hormone results. And so it's really exciting. So we give you quantitative numbers on your FSH. Our second product is an LH test. And so the second, I guess, another hormone in your body is LH. So when that peaks, that means you are about to ovulate. That means that's your fertile window, the two most fertile days in your cycle. And they're typically called ovulation tests, LH tests. And so we sell those and provide a quantitative number of your LH value using our free app. And then the third hormone we measure is PDG, which is that progesterone metabolite, which tells you the quality of ovulation. Do you have, LH helps you determine your fertile window. PDG levels really help you determine your implantation window and to make sure that you're set up for success and you have the highest chance at a healthy pregnancy if you did fertilize that egg during the implantation window. So that's our testing side. On the product side, we have balancing oil. So it is a cosmetic product, and it's natural bioidentical progesterone, MCT oil, vitamin E, and a little bit of lemon oil. It's a topical formulation that helps restore balance in women. You take it the last um, 2 weeks of your cycle, the last 10 to 12 days, well, more like 12 days of the cycle to really restore balance because it does have that bioidentical progesterone in there. We launched that product about, I would say, 4 months ago. People are really loving it. Smells good, absorbs quickly. Women feel better on it. Our co-founder takes it and she says she doesn't feel like she wants to kill her husband a few days that week. So it's helping with her PMS symptoms. I take it because I get headaches at the end of my cycle.
So it's really a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
This is so cool. It pretty much covered all the hormones involved in conception and fertility. What about other hormones that's also involved in like a menstrual cycle?
Yeah, the other main hormone I talked about was estrogen. And so are launching estrogen test in about a month or so. And so that will really give us the ability to track all cycle hormones at the same time, quantitative results. And what's really cool is, we step beyond just tracking hormones and really help women understand what they do and what it means. So for example, measure LH and FSH and you take the ratio of the two. If it's over 2, that is an indication for PCOS. And so since PCOS is so hard to diagnose, it takes women years and years and years. If they're armed with some knowledge that say, you know what, my number was over 2. Hey, doctor, can I get testing? Can you maybe help me with this diagnosis? It's just a way to have a better conversation with your doctor, armed with knowledge. For me, I was losing pregnancy after pregnancy, and they said, "Oh, well, it's normal. It just happens." And I was 29, 28, 29 at the time, so it was like, "Oh, you're young. It's it's fine. But I knew something wasn't fine. And so if I had Proov back then, I could have taken those results to my doctor and said, no, look, my progesterone is dropping too soon. This is I can't in pregnancy. Can you help me? And he'd be like, oh, okay, here's your progesterone prescription. And or Clomid or whatever, so it's like it's a matter of opening that door to a better conversation with your doctor. So we provide that information. We track them. We get levels, but we don't just tell you what the levels are. We tell you what it means. So our app at the end, you do all your testing, and then you get what's called an ovulation insight score. Is 0 to 100, and so your hormones are either 100%, 50%, 60%, 20%, something like that, and it just gives you a kind of a number to base it off of. And then we go in and tell you, okay, for life, what you do for diet, right? Because hormones, as you know, are tied to what you put in your body, what your mindset is, your mind frame. And so if you can do things to balance and restore while you're waiting for a doctor to see you, or you're waiting for insurance to cover it, or whatever it is, you can do healthy lifestyle things. So we make suggestions such as, you know what, your estrogen is high right now. And these are those foods that help support that estrogen levels. Or your progesterone is really the hormone that's working right now. This is what you can do for the progesterone levels. And those are, different foods you can do, different herbals that you can take, meditating, simple things like not doing strenuous activities during um it's time to kind of relax a little bit, take it easy. Your body's working hard. If you really want to run a marathon, wait till you have high estrogen, then you could feel like you could just run miles and miles and miles. That's no big deal.
This is really incredible. Oh, Tina, go ahead.
In terms of other ways that you can balance your hormones, would you be able to talk a little bit about the differences between the topical progesterone oil and like the supplements and what your doctor might prescribe to you?
Yeah. So, none of our products, anything that we do replaces medical advice. We're always here to support doctors. So our progesterone oil, it's a bio. I'm sorry, my thing keeps dinging. It's a bioidentical progesterone formulation. It does not contain the same levels as what you would get with a prescription. It's really meant to support wellness, balance. If you have a true deficiency in pregnancies, the balancing hormone might not have enough progesterone in it for you. You really need to talk to your doctor, work with them. Before you start any type of diet or exercise routine or whatever, it's always a good idea to talk to your doctor.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of, some people need a lot of help. Some people just need a little bit of a nudge.
But this is pretty incredible since the action is, the insight is very actionable. That's like also totally aligned with us that people want a solution, not just taking a test that they can not do anything about it. So it's really incredible to hear that Proov is also personalizing this experience for people so they understand, equipped with that knowledge. And it's the same thing when I was going through my fertility struggles, that initially the doctor was just telling me, hey, good luck next time, because we have no data. But when you have the data, you can actually open up like new conversations with the doctor and exploring new possibilities. So that's so important. So you mentioned like PCOS, and then I saw there's the audience asking a question. What about endometriosis? How does Proov test can help people with endometriosis, and would they get a positive test? Let's see, what was that question? Are those other tests like can you get a positive LH test and still not ovulate? And then are these accurate for women with problems such as endometriosis?
Yeah. So the first question is, can you get a positive LA to not ovulate? Yes, absolutely. More common with women with hormonal issues such as PCOS. Um, but it's not do I ovulate, yes or no. It's really how well am I ovulating. So, think about a sperm test, right? It's not do you have sperm, yes or no. It's do you have enough sperm? Are they swinging? Is the DNA fragmented?
Mhm.
These men get sperm analysis that have all these different parameters on like how, this many in modal and this has the number and this is the fragmentation, this and that. We're doing the same thing for ovulation because women used to have yes or no, ovulating yes or no. Well, no, that's not good enough. Temperature can tell you, like if you do like a BBT, a temperature chart, you can see the thermal shift. Say, yeah, I'm ovulating. Well, great, but if it's not a healthy ovulation, you still have a decreased chance at conception. You still might have symptoms of your cycle that are like PMS symptoms, have acne or headaches or all these other things. So that's kind of what we're trying to educate around. So yes, you can have an LH surge and not ovulate, but more commonly what we see is you have an LH surge, but you didn't ovulate well. So you did release eggs, but your uterus is not prepared to have a pregnancy, right? So you need two things for ovulation. One is for the egg to release. The second one is get good implantation. And so if either one of those don't happen, you're not going to have a So ovulation tests tell you when the eggs get released. PDG testing during the implant tells you is your uterus receptive to that. Second question was about endometriosis. Yes, we do work with women with endometriosis. So endometriosis is typically a condition where women have more estrogen than they have progesterone. And so it's overgrowth of uterine lining in places where it's not supposed to grow. And this can cause more estrogen receptive cells growing places they're not supposed to grow. And you need progesterone to counteract those that estrogen response. And therapies for women that have endometriosis involves taking progesterone, taking really high doses of progesterone. So while we can't diagnose or detect or know if you have endometriosis, what we're seeing is women that do have endometriosis typically don't have progesterone, and that adding progesterone under care of their doctor will help them reduce their symptoms of endometriosis and help them pregnant.
Yeah, so Proov test can also help people with endometriosis monitor their progress too, and then assess.
Yes.
What about menopause? We also had another question that, during menopause, women suffer from like headaches. You kind of mentioned the balancing oil kind of help with your headaches. Do you think the Proov test can also help determine possible causes and help managing menopause?
Yeah, absolutely. So menopause is really a condition of estrogen and progesterone. So right now, the PD only measures progesterone, but as a woman that goes through menopause, she starts to not cycle as often or as well. Get dysregulated estrogen and then regulated progesterone. And so the product that I mentioned out next month is way better for menopausal or perimenopausal because we measure estrogen and progesterone metabolites at the same time throughout their cycle, and we can really understand, what is their absolute level of estrogen down, is it okay? And then we relate it to progesterone. Is she still ovulating? Is she enough progesterone enough? And then we can do ratios of the two to determine dominant progesterone, maybe progesterone and she needs estrogen that. And so, menopause is a twofold problem, I'd say, where, your headache, your or hot flash at night, all that stuff could be estrogen or low progesterone or both. A lot of times they have different problems. And so the platform that we're developing is really going to help women understand how to navigate that and to know what their hormones are doing. Because a lot of women are like, yeah, that worked great for my girlfriend, but I tried it and it's horrible. Well, I mean, I think there's like 12 different types of menopause, different different hormones that are doing different things. And so if you empower yourself, what are my hormones doing today? And then you get personalized solutions from that. That's going to decrease that time of I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to try stuff. Have actual insights that you can get that help faster.
Yeah, one size really doesn't fit all. So understanding your hormone is like so important. But before Proov, like what were people measuring? Like how do they even measure all these hormones? Because Proov is like so convenient that you can just use it at home with the testing strip. Now with the companion app, it's just so convenient, and then you can track it. I mean, I just now can't imagine like what do people do before Proov?
Well, there's three things people have done. The first one is they do nothing. They just go on Amazon and buy something and guess, right? And if it doesn't work, then they try something else or whatever. The second one they do is they can go get a blood test. And so you can go in and you can test for estrogen and progesterone in your blood. That's typically, a single point in time. And they base like hormone therapy and everything based off of this one value of hormone, which is crazy. Yeah, I mean, I went in and got my blood drawn, and I'm like, "Do you care where I am in my cycle? Do you?" And he's like, "No, I don't care." So he comes like, "All right, your progesterone is 5," and I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "Those are both really low. You don't even know where I'm at in my cycle, so you have no idea." Because I had just ovulated like 2 days ago, and actually 5 is pretty darn good for ovulating 2 days ago. So I was like, you guys are crazy. And then the third one is like dried urine mapping. So there's a couple of companies that do this. The biggest one is Dutch, a company in Oregon and Washington. So they measure the hormones across the cycle. There's different formats of this, but it's Jesus, like depending on what you get, it's a $400 or $500 test. It's this huge report. Typically, you need a naturopath type of physician to understand the report and give you kind of next steps. It does, I'll give them that they measure a lot more things than we do. We measure LH, FSH, LH, estrogen, and progesterone metabolites. They can measure stuff like cortisol, DHEA, all the estrogen metabolites, all the progesterone metabolites. I don't know if they do thyroid stuff. But basically, we just measure the hormones and we watch them cycle, and we can understand if you have a healthy cycle, and we can do things. A lot of times the same recommendations come out at the end. But our price point is, depending on what kit you buy, $30 to $60 a month. Whereas this Dutch test is over $400. So it just makes it, and you don't have to wait. That's the worst thing is you collect all your pee, you send it to a lab, and you have to wait for it. So by the time you actually get it back, it's like you're totally different with what you had. And so if we empower women to be able to monitor these over and over and over and over as much as they want, they can monitor improvements. They can get the results real time, a fraction of the price. They do it at home. So
I see this as like really the first step of understanding your cycle and then your potential fertility issues. And then if you do see there's irregularity and if you want other answers, then I guess you can opt in to buy a Dutch test to understand more and having doctor to help you improve. But probably I would say like 99% of people using Proov is probably enough. That just to trying to understand as the first step. Because without this first step, you probably wouldn't even understand the other fancier tests anyway.
right.
Yeah. It's really impressive that you're able to track it over the course of time. And just for the people who have just joined, could you talk about how it's like administered? so that you're able to track it over time, like how the Proov test is actually like how it operates on your body or what you would have to do if you were to buy a kit.
Yeah. So you download the free app. It's on the Apple Store, Google Play Store, and you upload your information, how long your cycle is, and then prompt you when a testing day is. And so it depends on what kind of kit you bought. We measure 3 hormones today, 4 in a month. And so FSH, estrogen metabolites, LH, and then progesterone metabolites. And you collect first morning urine on a test day. And you dip a strip. So this is one of our FSH strips.
Cool. Nice.
It's like a very little, little strip.
Nice.
And we have this little card that's included in all the kits. And so this is for the app. And so you take your test, you put your strip in the box like this. And then you point your camera at it. And we have machine learning and backend algorithms that will take this test and it will analyze it for the hormone concentration. And then I took a test earlier today.
Nice.
Live demonstration.
So that's kind of the interface right now. So it kind of tells you, what testing you should be doing, and then it gives you these different hormone improvements.
Wow.
What to do each day.
That's very robust.
But then I'll find the FSH test. All right, so this is the FSH test. So it basically tells you what the value was, and then it grounds you in positive, negative, high, low.
Okay.
And then you can test over time and watch, the hormone levels change.
Really impressive to see how fast it is.
You can monitor different hormones.
Okay. Great.
And then it tells you, like, this one was negative, this one was positive.
Okay.
Where on that scale were you?
Nice. That's very precise. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of information.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'll show you the really cool stuff, this ovulation insights. So here's a completed cycle. You push that little button at the bottom, and it basically just tells you, about your ovulation. So it goes up and it calculates it. And this one says, what, 10%? Well, you didn't ovulate. And then it kind of explains what to do next and then how it found out you didn't do this. So it basically says all your tests were negative. You click on one and you can see how negative it was.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then, again, there's these different improvements. So it's all personalized. So this is a really bad score. I didn't ovulate. It'll tell you, what to do to ovulate. And then we also connect to doctors. So if you don't want to do natural solutions, or you don't have time, or you've tried it, or you really want to talk to a doctor, board certified reproductive endocrinologist, you can just tap the button. They know exactly what Proov does, what the results mean. You tell what your score is. That's good hand.
You have immediate expertise, opinion. Wow. Thank you for showing us. The visual really helps ground everything that we've been talking about in the actual product. We have one person who asked how many tests come in each package. I'm thinking they mean like how many strips?
Yeah, so we typically sell our kits in 1 month at a time supplies.
Okay.
So our biggest product that we sell the most of is what's called the Predict and Confirm kit.
Okay.
So this has 15 LH strips and 5 PDG strips.
Okay.
That typically will get through an entire cycle. So a typical protocol goes, you take a baseline PDG test at the beginning of your cycle after your period ended. And that just shows us what your low levels of your hormones are. And then we'll start to prompt you to take that LH test to determine when you are most fertile. We recommend testing twice a day because some people will miss their surge.
Right.
Typically, it's about 4 or 5 days of testing 2 times a day. So you probably use like average of between 10 to 12 tests a cycle. So we give you 15.
Oh, nice.
And then after we've detected the peak fertility date, we will tell you to come back in 7 days, and then we'll measure that implantation window, and we'll use the last 4 PDG tests during that implantation window.
Okay.
And then at the end of the cycle, we give you that ovulation insight score. So that product is $40. Your link will save women $5, so that's good.
Don't forget, we have it in our link in bio if anyone is interested right now.
Yeah. The other product we sell a lot of is just the Confirm kit, which is 5 PDG strips. So if you're using an ovulation test that you love, whatever other tests that you're using, there's a place in the app that you can manually set peak. So we don't require you to use our test. If this is a brand you love, great. You can plug that into the app. It'll tell you when to do the PDG strips. After that, you won't get the quantitative LH numbers, obviously, because you're using it for brands. But we want to make sure that women have access to the information when they need it.
Yeah.
And so, if you're used to an ovulation test and you love it and you think it's great, then by all means.
And so your app is compatible with other people's tests to make it a lot more available to.
Well, it's not compatible. Like, we can't read their tests like we can read ours. But we'll let you, like, there's a button on here.
To manually input it, you said?
Yeah, I'll show you. It just says, like, there's a little button on here where it says manually set peak.
Okay.
And if you push this, it's like, tell me what your peak day was, and you just push it on the calendar, set peak.
Okay. Yeah.
So that means, like, if you're using any other test that was your ovulation day or whatever, you just put it in there.
Yeah. It's great.
So for people who are not trying to conceive, just understanding their period and ovulation, or for people who are going through menopause, say if they have a longer window, like a longer period, do you recommend 2 boxes of strips so then they can actually follow through the entire cycle or longer days?
No, typically if you have a pretty regular cycle, so we polled women, most people have a fairly regular cycle. It's just could be 35 days or 28 days or whatever. And so you input that when you onboard in the app, and the app will calculate what days you need to test. So there'll be less testing days. So you'll have to wait. So a typical woman will per cycle. If you have a longer cycle, you won't start testing day 14, for example. You use the same number of tests. If the test protocol is different based off on.
Got it. So the app is actually already did all the hard work for people, all the calculations, because I oftentimes was like, okay, how do I calculate my days? So the app already doing that for you. That makes everything much, much easier.
Yeah.
So then you mentioned there are also natural ways. Some people are not into natural ways for increasing their progesterone or balancing their hormone. So what are some natural ways that people can do? Because for us, we're always believing anything natural is much better than anything chemical.
Yeah. So one thing that people love, that we see that works really well in the group, is a little hard to follow, but it's something called seed cycling. And so that's basically eating certain seeds to support your hormones. And so there's 2 phases of this. There's the first phase. So anything that happened before ovulation is your first phase. That's where estrogen is really the star of your cycle. And the seeds that you should eat are flax seeds and pumpkin seeds. And they recommend raw organic seeds, and freshly ground. So this is where it's kind of a little hard to follow, but take a tablespoon, put it in your smoothie every morning, blend it up. And that's the first phase. And then the second phase is sunflower seeds and sesame seeds. And organic, raw work the best. Tablespoon into your smoothie, help support healthy progesterone levels. Progesterone start. second half of your cycle. And being a scientist, I'm like, there's no way something is affected. It's true. It does. Like, we've had so many women, they're like, my Proov tests were negative. I did seed cycling. They're now positive. I got a pregnancy test. Like, I am a believer. So that's one of the biggest things, is seed cycling. Like I said, it's a little difficult to do every day to kind of grind them up. But there are companies that kind of have like single seed packs. Maybe you like buy it already done for you, like on your own hat. Or you can buy them on Amazon. I think you like Google seed cycling. There's like a seed company that you can buy big bags of them. And then the second one is, put your body type of stuff, is understanding what your intolerance are. So for me, I don't do well with dairy. So oat milk. A lot of people don't do well with gluten. So going gluten-free, going keto, something like that. Lots of sugars are very inflammatory. So you can't find natural sugars like fruits and vegetables, those kind of things. Really help, because when your body is inflamed, like you have a lot of sugar, it feels like inflamed, it's not healthy, it's less likely to support a pregnancy. You think of your menstrual cycle as the last thing in line, right? Your most important thing of being a human is to remain alive. And so you want to keep breathing, you want to keep your liver pumping, your heart beating, like all these things. And so if one of those systems feels too stressed out or is biofeedback to the over, going to shut them down. It's like, you know what? Now is not, you are not good. Something going on here. And they'll steal the resources. And that's where you see hormone balances. That's inability to conceive. It's like your body's way of saying, you know what? You're just not balanced at the right time. And so if you clean up the diet, you reduce those stressors put in your body, try to reduce the stressors outside the body. So, meditating, positive action every morning. Like, you literally look at yourself in the mirror. A lot of people don't look at you look yourself in the mirror and you say 3 things that you love about yourself every single day. After 3 different things.
I have a friend who does, and it really helps her bring her mood up. In the beginning, like it sounds kind of goofy, but then actually, it's like when you smile, you actually release hormones that make you feel a little bit happier. Hearing those words can actually do help bring up your mood.
Yeah. I mean, therapeutic stuff like funny cat videos on YouTube, and you like laugh. I mean, that stuff, it helps.
Yeah, especially for people who are going through infertility, it's like quite a bit stress. So managing that stress, having the support is extremely important. And then use Proov tests to checking your hormones to making sure everything is balanced. And then so we do we assess chemical exposures. Like, have you seen like how can chemical exposures throw your hormone out of balance?
Yeah, I mean, like, BPA is a big one, right? So, I believe we have some messaging in our app as well on, in the follicular phase of don't microwave your food in a plastic container. I mean, it's so like some simple things that we forget. Like, most women know that they shouldn't microwave plastic. But we forget because we get busy in life and we do this. So it's like just gentle reminders that, hey, go buy some Pyrex and get some glass and heat up your food that way. It might help save things. So, chemical disruptors are huge. Thinking about the products that you put on your body and in your body. So biggest example I can give you is our progesterone oil. It's a topical oil. It's formulated with progesterone in it. We do have a carrier, which is the vitamin E that helps it penetrate the skin. But it penetrates the skin and it gets the progesterone through that skin layer. And so if you think about that as all the other things that you're putting on your body, beauty products are a huge one, is they've formulated it now where that they have things that deliver across the skin to help you reduce wrinkles or reduce aging, or I have the nice bags under my eyes. Which, you might look better on the outside, but your inside is suffering. So
Yeah, that's what we're also trying to do. Tina actually did a lot of work looking for our curated product, approved product that's like free of environmental toxins and these hormone disrupting chemicals. And then many times it's just like really, really hard to read labels. So we kind of like trying to do that for people. So then nobody have to be trained at like a chemist to understand all these things on their product label, and then also to help discover what's really inside your body, because you can't possibly test for every single product, and sometimes even the product label doesn't really reveal everything. So yeah, we also encourage people to check out our tests and then also understanding your exposure, so then move like a step closer to balancing your hormones.
yeah, I mean, there's so many people in our group that they're like, I'm eating well, I'm taking my vitamins, I'm doing clean, like I'm eating clean, I'm like doing all the right things, and their cycles are still in the toilet, right? And so it could be things that they're just not seeing, or and so they would be, and we see this a lot, you know. So I will definitely, we have a blog going to all our consumers about your product, because I definitely think that it's a very, very important piece of the puzzle. A Proov audience, our users are definitely gonna get a lot of knowledge out of it. So I'm excited to share your product with our audience.
Yeah, understanding the numbers and prevention are such keys to get this. It really takes a village. Wow, I can't believe we already chatted for like 45 minutes, and then like it's almost coming to the end. So like, okay, for the future, like what's next for you and Proov?
Yeah, so like I said, next month we're coming out with this. We call it the complete kit. I know, genius name. But it's a complete. So it measures you from the beginning, your ovarian reserve, through your fertile window, confirming ovulation, ovulation quality, hormone balance scores. It gives you all this really cool information about your cycle. And then, give you all those scores, and then the next steps. And so part of the next steps are, what can you do to balance functional foods, meditations for partnering with people. Organic conception is somebody that we're partnering with who really helps women that are struggling to conceive get through that barrier.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't just tell a woman that's trying to conceive, just relax, happen. Because it's an emotionally hard thing to do. And so they have a support program specifically for women that are going through this, to get those negative thoughts and try to change them. Like seeing a negative test over negative test. How do you manage those feelings? Doing those partnerships, partners with more fertility doctors. So if you have an issue, great doctor and get the help you need. And then for the women that really want to help support healthy body, a healthy cycle, we're coming out for a supplement line. And then we personalize it. So if you have great hormone balance, we're not gonna sell you a supplement because you're good. But if you have low estrogen or low progesterone or high estrogen or whatever it is, customize stuff to get a cycle back and
This is so cool. So it's like a whole ecosystem that you're building.
That's
and
right.
then it's like a one stop. We can just go in and then and get personalized insights and then do something about it.
That's right. It's all about empowering that woman. You know, we're powerful. With the right information, we're unstoppable.
Love it. Unstoppable. If people wants to find more information about Proov and you, where can they go?
Our website is the best source, prooftest.com. So PROOV test.com. We are also available on Amazon and Target stores.
Perfect.
Yes, people can also follow Proov's Instagram, Twitter, all the good handles that follow on social media. Lots of cool content too.
Yeah. Also, we have a company of 9 women, and our number one goal is to support every single one of our customers. And so we have a really powerful Facebook community and Instagram community where if you PM us, you get personalized support. If you're in the group, have questions. You talk to women, you can go in there and check out, make sure it's legit. So we really try to help you on your journey, whether it involves approved products or not. PPC is a scary time to embrace and support. I've been there. I've had 7 losses, fertility. So I know, I understand, and I just want to create a community and resources.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining today. And then we would love to invite you back and talk more about Proov, especially now with this complete kit and all the exciting stuff that's going to happen in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to. I love talking hormones.
Gina, do we have any other questions? I think we answered all 3 questions.
Up on our side, I think they're all answered. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Amy.
All right. Thank you so much.
We will be ending the live. If there are any questions, please send them to Million Market or to Proov Test through DMs, and we'll get them answered. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.